Australia?
Yes, to open the Olympics.
5 months.
Thank you.
What for?
For doing the tour.
المهندس اللي بدأ انقلاب رجعنا قناة السويس دلوقتي بأيادي مصرية
You're as excited as I was when Philip offered me this job. He thought it would be good for me, good for all of us.
I didn't expect the job to become your life.
NASA's ragtag collection of part-time pilots have somehow managed to... We must attack. We have no alternative. We must attack swiftly and decisively. Israeli army launched an attack into Egyptian territory, the Sinai Peninsula, and is rapidly approaching the Suez Canal. The Egyptian army has mobilized a retaliatory force and is about to engage.
And the next step, in your view, would be war.
Indeed. Coordinated offensive against Egypt, whereby the Israeli army would attack the Egyptian army near the Suez Canal, thus allowing the intervention of Anglo-French forces. The right thing to do is to go in now and to go in hard. I was right about Mussolini. I was right about Hitler. And I am right about this fella. Do I have your support?
I sense this will be a momentous and eventful tour indeed. Ever your fellow member, Mike!
As a result, our Prime Minister has had no option but to declare an immediate ceasefire and retreat.
Without taking back the Suez Canal. I'd like to separate from my husband. Better still, divorce.
We're going to need one of the big three: adultery, unreasonable behavior, or insanity.
I'm quite sure there has been adultery.
I have the greatest sympathy for your condition, Prime Minister. And I fully understand the need for rest.
The country will be in safe hands. Mr. Butler will take charge in my absence.
Mrs. Parker is seeking a divorce.
Yes, specific mention was made of a lunch club where Lieutenant Commander Parker and the Duke of Edinburgh founder members.
May I ask you about your education? From a young age, you were effectively orphaned. Your favorite sister, Cecile, also a Nazi, died in a plane crash.
Yeah, I really think we should move on
What
now.
kind of impact does that have on a man? I think people have a right to know about their leaders, don't you?
If Mrs. Parker succeeds in getting her divorce, the newspapers would make the not unreasonable assumption that anything that Lieutenant Commander Parker has done, the Duke of Edinburgh has done too.
Have we encountered such beautiful women?
That is your husband's handwriting, isn't it?
Refit to resume my duties. In all these months, we have been a united government.
The war you insisted on has left us as divided as Caesar and Pompey and the country in chaos.
You were for the war.
Only as long as it was legal.
Liar!
There is no justice in politics.
Somehow they let her go back to Eileen. And now she has ridden to the palace. Give notice of her intention to sue me for divorce.
To offer you my resignation.
I gather soundings have been taken, and that you have been chosen by your colleagues as the man most able to unite the government and lead this country, following Sir Anthony's resignation.
Yeah. You'll have my resignation first thing.
I'll need it now.
As Principal Private Secretary to the Duke of Edinburgh, effective immediately.
It's been agreed that Her Majesty will fly out to Lisbon a day ahead of schedule. As I see it, your instructions are to meet her at the airfield. You've been quite specific for how the reunion is to be managed.
I've learned more about humiliation in the past few weeks than I hoped I would in a lifetime. Our marriage is different to any other in the country because the exit route, which is open to everyone else.
A divorce?
It's not an option for us. Ever. So what would make it easier on you? To be in.
To make it work. To make it bearable. I'll need the respect and acknowledgement of the dreaded moustaches. An end to their snobbery and prejudice. No more being sniffed at for being a foreigner with a gesture, a statement, something irrefutable that shuts them up and commands their respect.
5 most important things I need to know about that man. 1, that he's Welsh, that he had polio as a child. That he has a passion for inventing things. And he would never dream of being anything as straightforward as simply queer. I liked him. There's a contempt in him. For me. For us. For everything we represent. There's someone I would like you to send it to. Can I give you an address?
She's
naked.
It's concerning the speech the Queen is due to give next week. You don't think it strikes the wrong tone in its paternalism? The tone of the speech is somewhat old-fashioned.
And that even when your life seems most monotonous, what you do is always of real value and importance.
I was horrified by the indifference and inertia with which the speech was greeted. Being ordinary doesn't have to mean bland or ineffectual.
Your Majesty.
Very much looking forward to hearing what it is we must do in order to survive.
Let people get to know. Televise the Christmas speech. Become more transparent. Let normal people get to know you too.
Happy Christmas.
Sergeant Ethel Denver.
Such a pleasure to have you here.
I have just returned from a year abroad around the world. A young woman named Marie-Luce accompanied me on this trip. I have decided to ask her to marry me. Marry me.
We're going to have to delay it. Because of the baby. I'm expecting.
Since when?
14 weeks. Until the Sovereign's child is born, no
fewer than 3 other intimate relationships.
What's the matter? Tony, I'm pregnant.
Our most gracious sovereign lady, Queen Elizabeth.
Thank you. You thought of a name? We've decided to call him Andrew.
Let's do the happy. And let's make it bigger than my sister's. Let's eclipse her. Let's shake this place to its core.
Anthony Charles Robert, wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife?
Are now threatening to publish.
And what exactly is in these papers?
Letters and telegrams detailing your relationship with Nazi high command. It says that in return for your support, the German government offered you a home in Spain where you could wait out the rest of the war in peace.
As king, I was committed to the idea, passionately committed, that England and Germany should never be enemies again after the horrors of the Great.
Tired of being disrespected and abused by the corrupt and imperial powers of the past, new alliances, and are willing to treat us as equals and not as slaves.
Your Majesty. Mrs. Kennedy.
Good evening, Your Royal Majesty.
that in our head of state we had a middle-aged woman, so incurious, unintelligent, and unremarkable.
Your Majesty, Ghana welcomes you.
I'm afraid you've been used, ma'am.
I just wanted to thank you, that's all. You've been instrumental in changing a significant matter of foreign policy. And an African state that was fast running into the arms of the communists has been turned around and kept in the West. You said about her at a dinner in London, which then got back to Queen Elizabeth, and it seems spurred her on. Without those insults, she wouldn't have defied a cabinet, risked her reputation, and gone to Ghana against all advice to bring President Nkrumah back on side, but...
I asked to speak to you in private ahead of our lunch on Friday, because I owe you an apology. I made some comments, some foolish comments. Jack didn't appreciate being upstaged, behind closed doors. Dr. Jacobson routinely administers us his cocktails before major trips. Tell you how much distress it's caused me. The idea that I might have upset someone I admire so much.
Shots were heard. Reporters saw President Kennedy lying flat on his face on the seat of his car.
She's still wearing the same clothes. It's covered in her husband's blood. To observe a full week of court mourning. And I would like the bell rung at Westminster Abbey.
Did you have relations with this man, John Profumo, Minister of War?
No comment.
Who's this man?
Stephen Ward has been interviewed by police and has confirmed everything. Introducing Profumo to the call girls, the Russian spy, everything.
The man at the center of the Profumo scandal.
Stephen Ward?
He's taken his own life portrait, hand-drawn portrait, done by Mr. Ward himself. His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh. Also have witnesses who saw His Royal Highness arriving at Ward's house on several occasions.
How are you, Prime Minister?
All the better for no longer being one. I'm afraid my decision to resign is final.
If you have a charge to make, come on, be a grown-up, make it.
While searching his home, detectives found a portrait, painted by him, of you. And the mystery man in the newspapers. That isn't you.
Don't be ridiculous.
I am not.
I'm yours. In. And not because you've given me a title, not because we've come to an agreement.
In the name of the Father,
But because I want to be.
and of the Son,